I'd like to call the meeting to order. Sorry we're a little late. We were in executive session for personnel matters. Call this meeting to order. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Kokenauer?
Here.
Mr. Marshman?
Here.
Mr. Lake?
Here.
Mr. Bartray?
Here.
Mr. Bartusi?
Here.
Mr. Mongeau?
Here.
Mr. Renzi?
Here.
Mrs. Sangston?
Here.
And Mr. Jansen?
Here. We can stand for a moment of silence and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Motion to accept the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion for the treasurer's report.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to payment of the general and federal fund bills.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to payment of the capital reserve fund bills.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion for the payment of the cafeteria fund bills.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll have a presentation from Ms. Linda Shear from the CAHS Patriots.
Thank you for the opportunity to address you briefly this evening. It's hard to believe that 4 months ago, I stood before you and announced that we would be holding our 7th annual Warriors Rock concert and that the Temptations would be guest performers at that concert. That concert will be taking place. They will be singing and dancing right where you are sitting tonight in 10 weeks. That is hard to believe. I'm pleased to report that everything is on track. The interviews, of course you know that the program is driven by interviews of local veterans. They're scheduled to be taped. The Good to Know segment with Armstrong is on track. The commercial that will air on a lot of the national channels available from me at any time. Feel free to call my home, my cell, my email, go on Facebook and connect with the Patriots. Tickets are $10 for veterans. General admission is $25 and reserve seating is $40. And you know what really excites me? I have already sold 144 tickets. Join us that night. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Shear. We have nothing for public comment or agenda items, so we will move to athletics. Mr. Renton. Mr. Renton?
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
My athletic chairman. Thank you. Request approval of Dr. Gina Canada as athletic assistant at a cost of $4,800 for the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to permit Waynesburg University athletic training master's degree students to complete field experience hours with the CAHS Athletic Training Department in accordance with the attached agreement through the 2024-2025 school year, and I so move.
Second.
A motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the following volunteer coaches: varsity football, Ronald Marciani; varsity boys soccer, Zach Trainer; middle school girls soccer, Morgan Green, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the following supplemental contracts for the 2022-2023 school year, contingent upon receipt of a signed contract no later than 1 month after issuance, including the posting of the position if the contingency is not met, pending solicitor review. And middle school head football coach Steve Schaefer, middle school boys assistant soccer coach Tom Deason, football scout Justin Haynes, and I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to advertise for winter sports supplies and equipment, and I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Martucci, anything?
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Sangston?
Nothing, thank you.
That's all we have, Mr. Panzella.
Thank you, Mr. Renzi. Moving to buildings and grounds, Mr. Latham.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Request approval of the following event and building use requests, subject to adherence to the district's health and safety plan and all applicable state and federal laws and orders, including any mandatory or recommended cancellations, rescheduling, or postponement, and on the condition that requesters provide an event use specific health and safety plan acceptable to the district. Any rescheduling or postponement shall be the sole discretion of the district and under terms and conditions as may be set forth by the district. I'd like these spread. I'll go ahead and read 7 since there was a change, and I'll read number 9 since it's new. I think that's what it says. Number 7 is the prom committee is requesting to use the senior high school cafeteria for Cinderella. It's on December the 2nd. It says 3rd. It's the 2nd, 2022, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. And the other one is the EPICC is requesting to use the middle school cafeteria library in 1 classroom for Falcons and for families, Tuesday, September 13th, 20th, 27th, October the 9th, 11th, 18th, and 25th, 2022, 4 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And I'd like to spread and I so move, and if there's any questions on those items, especially number 9.
Have a second?
Second.
Is there any questions regarding number 9? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to repair the drain sinkholes in the parking lot at Dunbar Township Elementary School at a cost of $9,800 to be paid to taxator specialists to be paid from the Capital Reserve Projects Refunding Account, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the following expenditures from the Capital Project Fund Financing Account contingent upon the funds being available. Stage curtains at West Crawford Elementary School from Pittsburgh Stage in the amount of $13,869. Stage curtains at Dunbar Township Elementary School from Pittsburgh Stage in the amount of $14,101. Cafeteria divider at Dunbar Township Elementary School from H21 Group Incorporated in the amount of $12,775. And a gymnasium divider at the middle school from H21 Group Incorporated in the amount of $78,335. And I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the substitute custodian list for the 2022-2023 school year as proposed. And I'm going to read the substitute custodian additions. Okay. So make a motion on that, I guess. I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. And Vicki, you don't want me to read 12E? 12E says do not read substitute custodian additions. Do not read. Am I supposed to read or not? I can't see it from this phone. Don't read it? So I don't have to the motion is do not read, I'm not even going to read it. All right, that's all we have, I think. Mr. Kochner, you have anything else? Mr. Martucci?
No, sir.
Mr. Kirsch? That's all we have this evening, Mr. Vanzella, thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
I just have one question, Mr. Blake. Mr. Kirsch, when will the trail be ready for the Dunmore Township? We're getting pretty close.
I was told today, Wednesday, or wait for that.
Thank you.
But we're still going to have it open if we need to be. If it needed to be, we could have it ready and operable without everything on the first day, but I think the principal said she'd be fine waiting that week, right, Mr. Kirk?
Yeah, because we got to do hand grant, start on the building, as soon as we get the word on.
We gotta wait for the board to be mounted to put it up. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to Carnegie Free Library, Mr. Montiel.
Thank you. We had a meeting on, regular meeting was held on the 18th. There is nothing to report. Mr. Martray, do you have anything? Mrs. Sanks? Nothing, thank you. That's all we have, sir, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Montiel. Moving to Connellsville Area Career and Technical Center, Mr. Kokenar.
Thank you, Mr. Manzella. Request approval for the Perkins local plan application for Connellsville Area Career and Technical Center for the 2022-2023 school year in the amount of $101,957. And I so move.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item B, request approval to enter into a rental agreement for a period of 9 months, September through May 2022 to 2023. Cleveland Brothers CAT equipment for 2 pieces of equipment for the heavy equipment program. Those pieces of equipment are a 420 IT backhoe and a D2XL loader. The annual cost will be $37,000 as budgeted in line item B1131 for the Career and Technical Center. It's the same cost as last year, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all we have, Mr. Van Dam, Mr. Lee.
No.
Mrs. Sangston. Mr. James.
Yeah, Mr. James.
That's all we have, Mr. Van Dam.
Thank you, Mr. Kokenar. I'd just like to thank Cleveland Brothers for recognizing the importance of that equipment for our children, kids, and keeping the cost the same as last year. It was very nice. Moving on to curriculum, Mr. Harshman.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Item 15A, donation. In accordance with policy number 702, request approval to accept a donation of brand-new coats to every child, approximately 630 coats, of Dunmore Township Elementary School from Operation Warm, partnered with Diversified Energy. And I so move.
Second. Question?
Motion and second. I have a question.
Yes, I brought the same thing on Monday. It's also, I think, the whole board and everybody else besides the administration. If there's not food there, we'll distribute them to the office school district wherever they are.
Correct, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Blake. Yep, that's absolutely correct, and that's what will happen.
Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 15B, Water Guardians. Request approval of the Mountain Watershed Association to host the Water Guardian after-school youth club at Springfield, Clifford M. Fritz, and West Crawford Elementary School for the 2022-2023 school year. Meetings will be twice a month after school for 4th and 5th grade students at no cost to the student or district. And I so move. Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Curriculum pilot. This is an addition. Request approval to participate in Carnegie Learning Pilot Experience at a cost of $8,850 to be paid from ARP ESSER funds. Pilot will be available for algebra and geometry courses. And I so move. Second.
Motion. Motion and second, I have a question.
Is this going to be at the Carnegie Library, or is we doing it here from the Carnegie?
Carnegie Learning is a company that
Okay.
that's what's happening.
Okay.
Is there any other questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 15B, travel. This is also an addition. In accordance with policy number 431, request approval of the following professional employee travel. Jenny Becker to attend the Math Coach Network meeting September 23rd, November 18th, February 24th, April 27th, 2023, at the Allegheny Intermediate Unit, at an approximate cost of $730 for substitute and knowledge to be paid for by Title II Part A fund. And I so move.
Motion and second. Is there any questions on that since it's an addition? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, Mr. Renzi. Mr. Montiel. Dr. Kinzer. That's all we have, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harshman. Moving to cyber, Mr. Martre.
Thank you, Mr. Manzel. We have nothing this evening. Mr. Cook, are there any additions? Mr. Montiel? Mr. Ghost? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martre. Moving to federal programs, Mr. Mongel.
Item number 17A, request the approval to hold an after-school reading program to support remediation for elementary students during the 22-23 school year at a cost not to exceed $90,000 to be paid from the ARP ESSER fund. And I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And Mr. Martucci, do you have anything there?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Martre? Dr. Coon?
I
That's all we have, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mongel. Moving to finance, Mr. Renzi.
Thank you, Mr. Manzella. Request approval of the attached district credit card orders and to authorize district business office to process orders, and I so move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the attached requisitions and to authorize district business office to process purchase orders and payments, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the budget transfers, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the cyber liability insurance through ACE American Insurance Company with the broker of record being DeFuria Mundell and Associates for the 2022-2023 school year in the amount of $19,646. And I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to exonerate the real estate taxes for the properties located in Connellsville Township at 1316 Hawthorne Street, Connellsville, parcel identification number 06-03-0028, and also 06-03-0029 for the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Mr. Witt, I know there were some questions Monday night. Do you have anything you can elaborate on that?
Yes, so in response to the questions that were raised for some clarification, I did reach out to the township solicitor to get some more information on this specific property. This was a property that was a code enforcement problematic property within the township. They've received a lot of complaints on this property. Therefore, the township worked to have the property donated to the township. They are now in the process of undertaking steps to have those code enforcement issues remediated, to bring the property back into compliance and to increase its value in order to maintain this property and the tax base there. Once they have remediated, which they anticipate completing this year, hopefully, but certainly by the beginning of next year, first half of next year, this school year at the very least, they're looking to actually accept sealed bids for that property to get back on the tax rolls. So this is a request to exonerate the taxes for 1 year, would not include anything delinquent or anything in subsequent years. And they also wanted to point out as well that the district would be receiving a portion of the real estate royalty transfer taxes when the property is subsequently sold. So that will also cover some of those expenses in addition to going back on the tax rolls at that higher valuation.
Thank you very much for that. That sure helped everybody. I know the township calls it township. The guys always do a good job. So, any other questions? Okay, if not, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Anything you want to ask Mr. Layton?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Hartson?
Nothing, thank you.
Mrs. Robinson? That's all we have, Mr. Manzella.
Thank you, Mr. Renzi. Moving to food service, Mrs. Sangston.
Thank you, Mr. Canzella. Request approval of the cafeteria substitute list for the 22-23 school year as proposed, and I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the following additions to the cafeteria substitute list for the 22-23 school year. Haley Baker, Melissa Fuller, Sarah Ashball, Heather Lynn Wilson, and I so move.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the meal prices for the 22-23 school year. Elementary school's breakfast and lunch are both free. Secondary breakfast and lunch is free. The adult breakfast is $2.10, and an adult lunch is $4.05. And I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have. Mr. Coconer? Mr. Mortray?
Nothing, thank you.
That's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sangston. Moving to personnel and review and liaison, Mr. Layton.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Request approval to support professional substitute list for the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the professional substitute list for the 2022-2023 school year as proposed, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval for half-day release time for Dominic Rinaldo, teacher, to attend the meetings and events of the PSEA Collective Bargaining Committee on the following dates: September 16th, 2022, October the 28th, 2022, February the 3rd, 2023, April the 21st, 2023, at no cost to the district, and I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the following additions to the support professional substitute list for the 2022-2023 school year: Melissa Fuller, Haley Baker, Ashley Black, Wendy Knooch, Megan Stanzik, Amanda Ainsley Guthrie, Kelsey Piper, Marilyn Banco, and Hannah Stillman, and I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the following additions to professional substitute list for the 2022-2023 school year: Jillian Kelly, emergency; Beth Gary, TK to 4; Tanya May, nurse; Kyle Woods, emergency; Kaylee Nutter, emergency; Haley Tyrell, emergency; Mark Farris, emergency; Kim LaBarber, chemistry; Brody Bonadia, emergency; Rachel Roscoe, emergency; Harold Mesker Jr., emergency; Gianna Oakes, elementary K to 6; and Destiny Cristiano, emergency. Continuing on the next page. Garrett Wingrove, pre-K to 4; Scott Nemeth, emergency; Haley Martin, emergency; and Mia Shorey, emergency. And I so move.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
The following Family and Medical Leave Act is confirmed by the board. Michelle Surchak, teacher, intermittent for 2022-2023 school year. Matthew Cho, teacher, intermittent for 2022-2023 school year. And Jennifer Tippett, teacher, August 24th, 2022 through November the 28th, 2022. And I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the decline of the job offer from Madison Dunn as long-term substitute teacher for the Family and Consumer Science at the middle school for the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Beth Means as long-term substitute teacher for Family and Consumer Science at the middle school for the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Kristen Banasic as long-term substitute teacher for German at high school for 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Paul Miller Jr. as a long-term substitute teacher for auto body at the Career and Technical Center for the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Lori Dropick as a long-term substitute teacher for elementary at the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Jamie Mitchell as a long-term substitute teacher for elementary for the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Valerie Annis as a long-term substitute teacher for special education for the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Second.
The motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Allison Panzella as a long-term substitute teacher for the second grade at West Crawford for the first semester of the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain. Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Mallory Jackson as a long-term substitute teacher for fourth grade at Dunbar Township for the first semester of the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Brody Bonadia as a long-term substitute teacher for special education at the high school for the first semester of the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the resignation of Marjorie White, aide, effective immediately, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Jessica Tobai as a personal student aide at Dunbar Township effective with the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
The motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Danielle Myers Thomas as a personal student aide at Springfield, Clifford, and Fritz effective the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
The motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Katie Sarver as a personal student aide at the middle school effective with the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
The motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Michelle Mattis as a personal student aide at Dunbar Township effective with the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
The motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Shania Medvick as a personal student aide at the middle school effective with the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
The motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Amy Kitchen as a personal student aide at the middle school effective the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
The motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Bonnie Harshman as a personal student aide at Dunbar Township effective the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
The motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Amanda Ainsley Guthrie as a personal student aide at Dunbar Township effective with the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
The motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Collinsville Area School District and the Collinsville Area Educational Association regarding hiring with no assignments as proposed, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
This is in addition. Request approval to accept the resignation of Julie Taxacre, aide, effective immediately, and I so move.
Motion is second. This is an addition. Is there any questions? None. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
This is also another addition. Request approval to hire Anna Verassi as a personal student aide effective with the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
The motion is second. This is an addition. Is there any questions? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Renzi, you have anything to add? Mr. Harshman?
Nothing, thank you.
Mrs. Coconut? Dr. Bradley?
Nothing, thank you.
That's all we have, Mr. Panzella. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Layton. Moving to policy and legislative, Mr. Martret.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. We had policy revision. Our first reading was July 22nd or 27th, 2022, and we requested approval of the following additional policies. We have 520 freedom of speech, and I so move.
The motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
The next are policy revisions for our first reading. Request approval of the following first readings. 434 sick leave, professional employees. 534 sick leave, classified employees. 249 bullying and cyberbullying students. 348.1 bullying, cyberbullying, and harassment of administrative employees. 448.1 bullying, cyberbullying, and harassment of professional employees. And 548.1 bullying, cyberbullying, and harassment of classified employees. And I so move.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all we have this evening. Mr. Mongiel, do you have anything additional? Mr. Harshman?
Nothing, thank you.
Dr. Bradley?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Martret. Just on the legislative side, I wanted to, as our general public can see in our last bout of motions with all the hirings, that our pools of candidates for substitute teachers are of a concern. However, the state, and I want to thank Mrs. Sangston, the state is looking into alternative pathways to certification. So be on the lookout for legislative actions and governor actions for individuals that want to be certified in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to teach, or even individuals that want to serve in other roles in our district. As you can see, we have a lot of people interested in working here, and they're looking at alternative pathways for individuals that are certified in another state that can have reciprocal agreements in our state, or have bachelor's degree earning individuals that have a bachelor's degree not in education that can find an alternate pathway to education throughout the state. And it's kind of new, and the PDE is really looking at that and opening it up and encouraging people to take a look at education. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martret. Thank you, Dr. Bradley. Moving to safety and security, Mr. Martucci.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Request approval of the security substitute list for the 2022-23 school year, and I so move.
The motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the following addition to the security substitute list for the 2022-23 school year, Donald Whitaker, and I so move.
The motion is second. All those in favor? Aye.
And that was, sorry, that was an addition. If anybody has any questions. This is addition, so, yeah.
Anybody have any? Oh, addition to the sub list.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Okay, so all those in favor for the last one, Mr. Whitaker? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, one abstention. Thank you.
That's all I have. Mr. Renzi? Mr. Kogenauer? That's all, Mr. Pizzell. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martucci. We'll stick with you for special education.
Thanks again, Mr. Panzella. Request for an addendum to the contractual agreement between Presley Ridge, Greensburg, and the Collinsville School District at a semester rate of $18,550 per student. It's an increase in $550 per semester, or $1,100 per student for the 2022-23 school year, and I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the agreement between Belfair JCB and the Collinsville School District for the 2022-23 school year, increasing $4,751 per year for the 2021-22 school year agreement, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request for an agreement between Cleveland Heights and the Collinsville School District for special education services at an annual cost of $26,946 per student, increase in $1,289 from the 2021-22 agreement, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Yeah, that's all I have. Mr. Lee? Mrs. Sangston? And Mr. Benito? That's all, Mr. Panzella. Thank you.
Once again, thank you, Mr. Martucci. Moving to student services, Mrs. Sangston.
Thank you, Mr. Penzo. Request for the addendum between ProCare Therapy and the Collinsville Area School District for speech and language services for 22-23 school year, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
PAES. Request to purchase updated curriculum for the Practical Assessment Exploration System, which is the PAES, for the Career and Technical Buildings and Trades program with a total cost of $5,398.92, paid through the ARP ESSER funds, and I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
C has been scratched. 24D. Request approval of the following school district physicians at a charge of $7.85 for each student physical exam in the 22-23 school year. We have Dr. Canada, Dr. Rachel Fasson Espino, and Dr. Mary Hickcraft. And I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval for the following dental examiners at a charge of 85 cents for each dental examination for the 22-23 school year. We have Dr. Chomiak, Dr. Jacob Yaninski, Dr. Perez, and Dr. Bernal. And I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval for the Central Susquehanna Intermediate Unit Center for Safe Schools. Complete a behavioral health and climate assessment for Woodson, Springfield, Crawford, Dunbar, Conway High School, and the Career and Technical Center at a total cost of $10,900, paid through the PCCB group supporting mental health, safety, and security. And I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the following supplemental contracts for the 22-23 school year, contingent for receipt of the contract no later than 1 month after assurance, including the posting if the contingency is not met. We have the senior class play director will be Cassinier Coffins. Co-prom advisor is Kim Labuda, and middle school technology liaison is Eric Trump. And I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request for the additional professional behavior health service agreement between Chestnut Ridge and Collinsville Area School District KCCD. And I so move.
The motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
President Panzella. We just pause while Mr. Hammond figures out this.
John, you need to borrow this?
You got it? Good? Thanks, sorry, I mean, I just, we have people at home on YouTube. Thank you.
We good?
Good.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Mr. Harshman?
I have nothing, thank you.
Mr. Montiel? Mr. Domingo?
Just had a question, 23D, one of the documents on red.
Yes, that's, yeah. I'm sorry.
I think they're still working on that, correct? Yeah.
That's all we have, Mr. Pinzella. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sankson. Moving to technology, Mr. Harshman.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. 25A, Technology Employee Substitute List. Request approval of the Technology Employee Substitute List for the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, Mr. Martucci.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Martray.
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Ghost.
Nothing else, thank you.
We have nothing, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harshman. Moving to transportation, Mr. Kokenauer.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. 26A, request approval of the bus van drivers list 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 26B, request approval of the school bus run stops for the 2022-2023 school year on file in the transportation office. These lists are available on the various school district website and have been published in the Daily Courier. And I so move.
Second.
A motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
We had a transportation committee meeting was held on August the 8th, 2022. And that's all I have, Mr. Panzella. Mr. Lake?
Nothing.
Mr. Renzi?
Nothing, sir.
Mr. Evans? That's all we have, Mr. Panzella. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kopenauer. Moving to the President's report. The slate of candidates, request approval to direct the Board Secretary to electronically cast votes for the following PSBA offices. President-elect Michael Gossard, Cumberland Valley School District. I guess I'm just going to lump them all together instead of reading each one, since it's the only people we have code for. So I'll make that a motion. Do I have a second? Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. That's all I have for the President's report. We will move into public comment for non-agenda items. First person we have will be Michelle Mowry, teacher. Topic is funding. I know we have a few people. I just want to remind everybody of the three. Linda, thank you.
Hello, everybody. What happens in Harrisburg directly affects public schools. Therefore, I believe it's imperative that our school board members, the district's personnel, parents, and members of the community obtain information directly from the source when possible in order for them to make the best possible decisions for our school district. There has been conflicting information about the governor candidates' educational plans and funding. Therefore, I implore all of you to go to the source and ask them the tough questions. I know Doug Mastriano will be in Fayette County on September 8th at the Grayson House in Uniontown. Please take the time to go see him and be accurately informed. I'm not sure when the other candidate will be here. If I know, I will update you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mowry. Next, moving to Annie Engel, a parent on addition to kindergarten teacher at Springfield Elementary.
Good evening. Again, my name is Annie Engel. By now, I'm sure you're aware that Springfield CMP gained another kindergarten student, now resulting in 27 students in each class. That being said, you will be making a decision that will affect 54 students, 2 teachers, 1 principal, and approximately 108 parents. A decision that could ultimately make or break these students' first year of school. Hiring 2 aides will add another body to each classroom and require workspace in an already packed classroom. Why not combine those 2 salaries and hire a 3rd kindergarten teacher? Why not invest in our district, our teachers, our children, our students? Last year there were 3 kindergarten teachers for 56 students. That's only 2 more students than we currently have enrolled. This year, we yet again will have the numbers for a 3rd kindergarten teacher. And since combining schools with CMP, I am betting we will continue to have those numbers needed for a 3rd kindergarten teacher. What is the number of kindergarten students needed to warrant a 3rd teacher? As far as I'm concerned, we are way past that number. I ask myself often, am I making choices that best benefit my children? Now I am asking you to reflect on that question. If this was your child or your grandchild, would you put your vote towards another teacher? If the answer is yes, please do the same for my child and 53 other kindergarten students at Springfield CMP. Vote yes to add a 3rd kindergarten teacher for these first-time students who do not have a voice and are depending on us to do what is best for them. Once again, I know you have a difficult job, and I respect each and every one of you. I appreciate each and every one of you. And there are financial ramifications to this decision. I understand that. However, I am trusting you will do the right thing in the best interest of our children by adding a 3rd kindergarten teacher. These rooms are cramped. The chairs are next to their cubbies. In case of an emergency, this is going to be a disaster. I fear for my child's safety. I fear for my child's education. Being someone that has a background in education, I'm not going to be able to sleep at night until there's a 3rd teacher added. I can tell you that right now. It's going to have a severe impact on these kids. And in the years to come, these are their building block years. They need a 3rd teacher. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Moving to Sandra Minnick, parent, kindergarten teacher at CMP.
Good afternoon. My name is Sandra Minnick, and I'm a parent whose child will attend Springfield CMP Elementary School this year. I politely am demanding the board to add a 3rd teacher to make our classrooms smaller. I was informed that we have around 54 students, so that's 27 kids in each classroom. If we get a 3rd teacher, that will make it around 18 kids per classroom. That's 9 less in each class. These are our children who we pay for each one of you to... These are our children who we pay for each one of you to have a job. You work for us. Out of all of the board members, I only had 2 that emailed me back and reached out with their concerns also. Not only do students learn more in small classes, but they also learn faster. And this means the class will progress through the material more quickly. Their learning is enhanced by the confidence that the students develop in a smaller class. It's more difficult for students to hide and get left behind. Having fewer students means that each one can get the attention they need from their teacher. Teachers at the front of a small class have more opportunities to observe and assess the class as a whole and the students as individuals. Learning is further enhanced and teachers and students can interact. Again, put a 3rd teacher to teach kindergarten at Springfield Clifford Crest Elementary. I appreciate your time, effort the school board puts into our children. Thank you for the time, service, and consideration.
Moving to Marissa South, Normalville, additional kindergarten.
I'm not as prepared as them. Those are great. Marissa South was here on Monday night as well. I'm hoping that we get support each time. to show that the community is noticing that we need that third teacher. I know in a lot of schools, it's a space thing, right? There's not other classrooms. We have that capability up there, so I don't see a reason why we can't. I mean, even if we had some sort of justification on why we're not doing that, when we can, just to make us better understand why we're not giving our children the best education that we can. We have the space, everything they said, right? We all know why we're here. I just really urge you to actually consider, let's put it on the next school board meeting to get a third teacher in there. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to Sawney Valley District Policy.
Thank you, and I'm going to apologize in advance if this comes across as rude or, I don't know what the term is that I want to use, but this morning was looking through district policies. I came across district policy number 104, and I thought it was kind of ironic that on the human resource page it says that the Connsville School District is an equal opportunity education institution and will not discriminate on the basis of race or age. However, I felt I have been discriminated against. And in the research of policies, I've come across policy 509, which states assignment and transfer. The vacancy shall be publicized to all appropriate classified employees before new employees are sought. Requests for transfers to vacant positions will be considered. With that goes the violation to the contract terms XXE number 3, where staff shall be informed of any openings and may be request an application. The superintendent will inform the staff in writing by posting in the district portal. I have not had those opportunities. There are people with far less ability than me being placed in positions that I had to pass a test for in order to bid on. But yet there are people that are taking these positions.
Don't want to interrupt, so once again, personnel issues shouldn't be addressed at the actual board meeting. If there's specific personnel issues dealing with specific employees. Even if that employee is you or another employee, that's something to have addressed through the proper channels, whether that's a collective
And again, I
bargaining
just keep getting
unit
stonewalled. But I'm going to move forward just because, again, this was in the district policies and it is applicable, so I want to bring it to your attention. The other thing that I'm concerned about is that on Monday, the perception is that there is some kind of bias and discrimination going on within our district because it's a pretty sad state when you have an elected official who has come for 3 years, said that there are issues that she is not receiving her emails, but yet nothing's been rectified. How is she supposed to perform her duties, her elected duties, when she is not being provided the resources? So the perception is, almost, if this were not a male director on the board, would this be rectified within the 3 years? Because the bottom line is, she is an elected official. She has the right to have these resources at her fingertips, just like everybody else sitting up there. With that being said, I would appreciate you guys giving me the consideration of my seniority. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all we have for non-agenda
President's
items.
Prior to my statements, I'll address the public comment. Public comment, as we know by policy, is comment. It's meant as public comment, not public discussion, not public back and forth, not public dialogue. However, I do appreciate any individual in the public that comes forward. It's an intimidating prospect at some points to come up and stand at a podium and speak, and you're public speaking, and it's intimidating, and I can applaud their efforts. And appreciate the way and style that the Springfield Clifford and Pritt parents have presented the information that they've presented. With that said, those parents have the opportunity through a voluntary process and a voluntary transfer process that is policy driven to transfer to a lower attended kindergarten. That's one thing that it might not be attractive, but it exists, and I'm not sure that a new parent would be aware of that you can volunteer to transfer to another building that has a lower enrollment. Number two, my recommendation as the board is to allow the teachers in the building, in all the buildings, because if we look at all of our elementary buildings, we have low enrollment classes and we have higher enrollment classes. My recommendation to the board is to allow all of those classes to be looked at. And as an example, within the last 48 hours, we've had 10 students enter our district in the elementary system and 7 leave the elementary system. That fluctuates in the last 48 hours. We know historically at Collinsville School District that the first 2 weeks, regardless of any deadline that is published, any deadline that is put out there, we know historically we have people leaving and coming. They're moving and they haven't notified us, they notify the new district. They're coming in from another district and they haven't told us. They're new students and their parents haven't enrolled them for whatever reason, and I can appreciate all kind of life circumstances. They haven't enrolled. So my recommendation to the board is to allow us to get communications as an administrative team, communications as the teaching staff provides to us, to see what resources then we make and we recommend in September. And I appreciate the time to do that. And those recommendations could anywhere from B, as far from status quo, to addition of staff. So I appreciate the opportunity to gather that information and provide it to the board on that instance.
Mr. Bradley, could you please let the parents know that you made a suggestion that they can change schools, but they also have to know that they have to pay for their own transportation.
We'll provide transportation. That's part of the policy. Correct. Provide transportation.
Which I'm sure they don't want to come down on the mountain to do that.
I'm not sure of everyone's circumstances, but we have.
I also want to tell guys, I totally agree with you. Your building is very small because there's two buildings up at the mountains. It's different down here. Our buildings are much bigger down here. So they split the mountain in two many years ago, and now it's in one. So the rooms were very small, and I totally agree with you. I'm going to work on it and let you.
The only thing I have to say is that I wasn't going to say anything. One lady, she explained that some schools cannot have. When you say down here, there is no school more crowded than Dunbar Township Elementary School. Has the same exact numbers as your kindergarten does up there. And they have 4 classrooms. It's 100, it's a little less, but still the idea would be great, but we have no room in any grade level to put anybody at Dunbar Township. So it's not like the mountain's the only thing that's considered. I, for one, voted to keep 2 elementary schools in the mountain. And 2, I voted to keep Zach Connell down here too, because we knew that the overcrowding might happen. But let me tell you one thing, and we've been looking at this, the administration, the board's been looking at this very, very hard. One thing I will tell you, and an idea through a transportation director, is redistricting. We don't want people to leave if they've been in the grade level, say from K to 2, K to 3. If we redistrict and try to equal out the numbers, be aware that that child that attended one school from kindergarten, 1st and 2nd may be going to 3rd, 4th, and 5th at another school. I went through this a couple times in my tenure as a board member. It's not pleasant. I think what Mr. Bradley said, let's look at the numbers. If we have to add, we can add. These numbers might go up. They might go up more in kindergarten because people bring their kids to school on the first day of school. Not registering them, bring them there, whether they're K through 5, and say, hey, here's my child educated. So, I mean, believe me, it's a big concern with the board and all the crowdedness and all the people, and we would love to have class sizes throughout the district at 18, but it's just not, we can't do that, especially at Dunbar Township. We don't have room for one class to be added at Dunbar Township. And that just, I feel terrible because we've changed the numbers of Bullskin. We're looking to do something in Springfield, but Dunbar Township, we do nothing because we can't. So, I mean, everybody's got a little burden to bear, but just watch, because if we go to redistrict, it could be a big thing. People's not going to be too much in favor. We might equal out all the classes. but it's not going to be too nice to everybody and everything they want. That's all I have.
Thank you for putting that in.
Thank you. Moving on to assistant to the super. Thank you. Dr.
Yeah, thank you, President Panzella. I want to thank Mrs. Shearer for her presentation. Wish her the best of luck with the Patriots. I know my mom will either be present or watching as a Navy vet, and she's always proud when she gets to come. I wanted to really announce and give some information about our first staff development day today. I can say it was a successful day. We had over 97% attendance of all of our professional staff. The custodians have the buildings looking unbelievable. The maintenance staff has the buildings ready to go for our students. Our cooks are ready. We look forward to our students on the first day. Today we received probably the best feedback we've received in the years I've been here as far as our keynote speaker. I had 30-year vets, I had 5-year vets, I had individuals that have been here for years come and tell us that our keynote speaker, Brian Mendler, who the topic is really how to deal with students that are not the ideal students that are a challenge to our classroom teachers. And he reflected some of his own life stories, and it's just that one kid is the title of his presentation. And Brian Mendler did a great job and really motivating, funny, and this room was very well attended. We kicked off the day with our band. Our band got everybody started at 8 o'clock, so we had a nice resounding efforts from our band. They played the national anthem, they played the alma mater, and then, don't quote me, but I think it was a Star Wars theme in Star Wars. So it was pretty cool to start that with. I thank our community for having the confidence in their teaching staff. There's some great teachers here, and we look forward for our first student day on Monday. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brennan. Nothing else, motion to adjourn.
So moved.